We have now had our electric Mini for 1 whole year, so time for another review. I'm going to go over how the little Mini's holding up, exterior condition, interior condition. I'm going to talk about range, we're going to talk about how much it's cost us on electricity, and we're going to talk about online hate for electric vehicles. Talking of which, it's raining quite hard. I better get the car inside the garage before I get electrocuted. Yeah, that's a thing. Hello YouTubes. 1 year ago, my wife and I headed off to Mini St Catherine's to possibly trade in our Mini Cooper S that we'd had for 2.5–3 years for maybe John Cooper Works, top of the range Mini Cooper. And we came home with this. Well, we didn't come home with this, but a few days later we came home with this electric Mini instead. I will post some links up here of the test drive and various updates we did with this car. But why did we buy the electric Mini over the John Cooper Works? Everyone's got their own reasons. We actually preferred the drive of this over the JCW. Totally bizarre. We're not like EV fanboys and girls. We just preferred this car for our own personal needs. So today we're going to go over what it's been like living with the Mini Cooper SE for a year. We're going to talk about how the exterior trim and paint is holding up. We're going to look at the interior, full leather interior in this, and talk about a couple of gripes, not a lot, and also if there's been any faults with the car. We're going to talk about the whole range anxiety thing, which we never had. We didn't buy this car for road trips. We're also going to talk about the online hate that is still going on and has been going on all year. Only online, I must stress this. Anyone who I've taken out in this electric Mini has loved it. Anyone who has driven it has totally adored it. They haven't bought one, but I have changed a few minds. Okay. Let us begin with exterior condition. The paint is holding up just fine. I have accumulated a couple of stone chips on the hood. We opted to not get that clear film that goes along the top at the front between the headlights, and we didn't get it ceramic coated. But as I say, a couple of stone chips is to be expected. The black trim over the wheels and the roof, it's all fine, it's stained black. Our last Cooper S had a black section along the front which kind of turned a bit milky within a year. We were not happy with that, but we've not had any of those issues with this particular car. We have done some exterior cosmetic modifications like the roof, Union Jack, the mirrors, black jacks or night jacks I think they're called. And of course we have our little plushy tag at the back. My wife just had to have that. We did have big Union Jack decals along the side, but they lasted approximately 2 months, and then my wife decided she no longer liked them, which is fine. It's all about personalisation. Wheels are holding up extremely well. Managed not to get any curb rash on them, but time will tell if that lasts. But as I say, overall exterior lovely. No door dings because we always park either miles away from everyone else or beside a fellow Mini owner. Rule number 1. Oh, we did have an unfortunate incident with our garbage bin. We left the Mini outside one day. Storm came along, picked up the garbage bin and slammed it against the car. So we did get a little scuff. I will say that the paint on this is not very thick and it scuffed it kind of easy, but thanks to the kindness of my brother-in-law, he brought over some T-Cut Colour Magic, wait a minute, T-Cut Colour Fast, which you don't get in Canada. It's kind of like an abrasive polish with pigment inside. so you get it in whatever colour you like. Obviously we got it in green and it pretty much covers the scuff. Might have to reapply that. Okay, on to the interior, and how is that coping with a dirty old bugger like me sitting in it now and then, bearing in mind it's white leather. Now obviously with white leather you have to be a wee bit more careful than you would be with maybe black leather, but it's holding up pretty good. We do have the usual wrinkles starting to appear on the bolsters. That is always going to happen. However, we do carry a little emergency care kit in the trunk. We have some Meguiar's Rich Leather Cleaner Conditioner and some Meguiar's interior wipes, just to keep it all spick and span. You probably notice in most modern cars there's quite a lot of piano black trim. There's a lot of hate for it. I kind of like it, to be honest, and as long as you just give it a clean now and then with a microfiber duster, it's absolutely fine. These people complaining about, oh, fingerprints everywhere. Wash your hands, eh? Okay, what's next? Gripes and faults. Not many, to be honest. If you live in a country with a colder climate, like Canada, you can expect winters of down to about -35. And with this style of door and window, this isn't specific to Minis, you get this on quite a lot of European cars. When you open the door, the window drops a little bit, and this is to stop the top of the glass hitting the trim on the roof. This can be a problem though in winter when that freezes. In the up position, if the window doesn't come down, you can still open the door, but when you slam the door shut, because the window's a little bit higher, it could crack along the top. But because we were aware of this situation, having 2 Minis before this, we were proactive and we bought some gummy fledge. It's a German thing, link in the description to buy a bottle. And basically you put that around the rubber trim top and bottom, wherever glass touches rubber, you wipe some of that stuff before winter comes along, and that should at least help prevent that from freezing in place and causing that problem. As far as faults go, we've had 0 faults. We have one major gripe, just a gripe, and that is the infotainment system. That big circle in the middle. I think they've carried this forward from previous versions of the Mini Cooper, or even just the Mini, and they've just not got it right yet. It really struggles to connect properly to your phone. The CarPlay system is garbage, the GPS looks awful, and I just think they could have spent a bit more time on software, because that's really all it needs. It's fine, but as I say, it could be better. However, no one buys a car for the kick-ass stereo system. Now, you buy it for your individual needs, whether that be something sporty, something practical, private use, business use. How much can you fit in the back? With an electric car specifically though, the main question is range and cost of charge. So let's go into that a little bit. On paper, this BMW Mini Cooper SE has a range of 110 miles on a full charge. We have found that to be massively underestimated. Generally we will get about 150 miles on a full charge, sometimes more, sometimes a bit less, never as low as 110. So how much does it cost? Well, we only charge this in the house at night, off peak. We didn't buy it as a long commute or a road trip car, so we knew we were always going to be able to charge it at night in the house. My wife has a daily commute of around 30 miles round trip, and she can easily get 3 full commutes to work and back on a full charge. Generally, when she returns from work, the charge is down to about 75% remaining. So as I say, 3 full trips. In winter, it will maybe drop to about 65. There is a fair drop in range in winter. Batteries get affected quite a lot by the lower temperatures, especially in Canada when we're talking like -25 to -30 on occasion. You're also using your wipers more, you're using your headlights more because it's darker more of the time, your heater and snow tires. Snow tyres really affect the range of an electric car, or at least the mini electric car. So cost-wise, off-peak charging at night will cost around 80 cents to get it from 75% up to 100% at night. In winter, it'll cost a bit more, still under $1 a day for that daily commute. I'll give you a full roundup of the year's cost and also the savings from an electric car. I don't mean comparing it to a petrol or gasoline car. There are other savings to be made with having an electric car. But first, I want to address the big fat EV hater elephants in the room. If you're on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, any of the above, I'm sure you will have noticed the amount of hatred towards electric vehicles. Now, some of that is going to be from genuine electric car haters. They just don't like the concept, they don't like the drive, they don't like the lack of noise from their V8s or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I totally love the noise of a V8. I've got a few myself. I've even got a rotary turbo sitting behind me. One day that'll be wasting a lot of fuel. But there's a more sinister aspect to this, and that is the likes of the big oil groups, who are obviously going to lose a lot of money the more electric cars are produced. So they send their trolls in and spread misinformation like electric cars need to burn coal to get their power, and the poor little child slaves in wherever mining lithium for their batteries. At the end of the day, electric vehicles are better for the environment. Do your own research and you'll find out, okay? But that's not why we bought an electric car. We didn't buy it to save the planet. We bought it because it was a fun car and it did save us money. The benefit to that is eventually it's going to help save the planet. But as I say, that's not why we bought it. The sad aspect of it is dividing the car community quite severely. I've actually had to leave a couple of my favourite car enthusiast groups because they will not tolerate an electric vehicle discussion on their group. To me, it's just progress, right? Just like when cars came along, I'm sure the guys riding their horse and carts were up in arms and hated on petrol cars, but it's just evolution. So, how much did it cost us to own and run our Mini Cooper SE for a year? Okay, first of all, the cost of buying this was about $40 a month extra over the Cooper S. However, the insurance was $40 a month less for the electric car over the Cooper S. So that leaves the cost of electricity. Cost of electricity to power this for a year, using it almost every day, not fully charging it every day, I must stress that, around about 30 miles per day round trip, a bit longer at weekends. Total cost in electricity was $345. However, you need to deduct a couple of oil changes, so reduce that by about $80 for 2 oil and filter changes that you would have in a gas-powered car. Brings the running cost down to about $265. Now, if we directly compare that to the previous car with the oil changes was $1,805. That's a pretty big saving for pretty much the same car, although you can't go on the long trips. Or you can, if you want to charge it for half an hour. So that's my 1 year review of our fully electric Mini Cooper SE. Any regrets? Not a one. Do we still love it? Absolutely. Now, are there better electric vehicles out there? Probably. But the Mini is very individual in that it still keeps the Mini soul, if you know what I mean. There is plenty of new electric cars coming out every day, but they're not necessarily aimed at the car enthusiast. They're aimed at range and practicality. The Mini's quite different in that respect. And if you ever test drive one, you'll know immediately. That's why we bought one immediately. We love it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have an electric vehicle, whether that be a Mini or anything else out there, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it and if you've had any faults and maybe further down the line I'll do a video on lots of different models of electric vehicle and see which one really stands out. I know that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is getting good reviews, but it's already starting to look dated. We saw a few when we were test driving cars when we were looking for a new truck, and we weren't impressed anymore. It's crazy how things are moving on. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will be updating you soon on anything and everything Mini.